The heaviest part of the day for me is when all the kids started to pile up around me. They had been watching me ski, they'd watched me hit the jump, they'd watched me hit the ground. My role to them was to give them direction in sport, to help fuel their passion, to help to achieve their goals. And suddenly somebody they looked up to was just sitting in a pile of hurt. For the first time, I had recognized the gravity of my actions and the impact it has on other people.
He knew that he always did a speed check. Then he did just a straight air, and then you would do your trick. It's what he taught his students. There's a few things that kind of come into play, and there's the ego, and there's also like, oh, I've got all these kids around me, and I want to, show that I've got ability, and that kind of all took place.
We were getting ready for a huge competition, the Canadian Junior Nationals. As a coach, sometimes I sit on the side and I give direction, and other times I like to get into the mix with all the athletes. I didn't really have a ton of time to spare, so rather than going through the full speed check, safety check, do a couple warm-up jumps, I just went straight into the meat and potatoes. As I came into the transition, I just clearly knew that I had way too much speed. Everything inside of me telling me no, but the ripe old age of 23 was unstoppable. I ended up sending it off the end of the jump, over-rotating the Superman front foot and overshooting the entire landing. Never have I felt such pain, physically and emotionally, the fear of what life's gonna look like. The doctor on call in the emergency room had come in after reviewing the x-rays, recognized that I dislocated my back, severed my spinal cord, and paralysis was the prognosis. I was never gonna walk again. He's got to come in and tell a 23-year-old kid who lives to be in the mountains that life is going to be awfully different. Came in and he looks at me straight in the eyes and says, "You're going to rock the world from a wheelchair. Before you know it, we'll get you back in the mountains riding a sit-ski with all your friends." And in the darkest moment of my life, he gave me just a little glimmer of hope. When something traumatic happens to you, often you're going to run it through your mind over and over again and reflect upon it. For me, that moment was coming down into the transition before hitting the jump. Everything inside of me was just firing, saying, no, this is a bad idea. Call that our intuition, right? But there was that youthful sense of invincibility. 23-year-old me was saying, just go for it. That was my ego. And what a classic scenario. Intuition versus ego. It almost sounds like a little bit of Star Wars, the light and the dark. Looking back on that moment, how pivotal is that? Here I am, I've been given all the tools internally to recognize danger, and I had become so good at just ignoring that. I look at it now and, having the chance to think about it, talk about it, and actually live and experience that. Anytime I feel something is just a little bit off, I stop and I take a chance just to evaluate risk and reward, What is the risk I'm about to take?
Learning from Josh's accident and being there through it all, watching him, and how it's changed me and how I take life now is I really slow down. When I am doing things that maybe are a little bit riskier, or trying to kind of be in the moment. And Josh talks about a lot is like, I know we've all felt it, is the intuition.